welcome to the Let It Shine podcast. This is your host, Donna Tipton Howell, and the title of today's podcast is A Radiant Glow. We've had some beautiful sunsets lately, and you know how I love sunsets. I look out the window, I rush out, and I see the last bit of that glowing beauty. But last night, it was even more spectacular than usual. Along with all the gorgeous colors, there was a glow coming from the sky that was truly magical. It was mesmerizing. Have you ever seen a person who just seems to glow? You may have heard that expression. When she walks in, she can light up the room. There are certainly times, I think, when each and every one of us radiates a glow. Remember when you were expecting a baby? Or when you were in your first love, or that fresh crush of a new love, or when you came up out of the waters of baptism as a new Christian, you just seemed to glow. Or maybe when you were walking down the aisle to get married, someone said you just looked like you were glowing. All these circumstances and situations were times of such hope and wonderful things to come. Nothing could darken the mood for us in those times. It's hard to imagine why everyone else wasn't radiating happiness and joy as well. Do you remember that Donna Fargo country song, Shine on Me Sunshine, Walk with Me World? It's a skippity-doo-dah day. I'm the happiest girl in the whole USA. Well, this dates me, but whenever I met Gist, I was singing that song all the time. Everything was coming up roses. But then always come the darker times when nothing's going right. There is little hope for anything to get better. The storm clouds start rolling in. The trees come crashing down. The rain pours in through the roof. That precious little baby that was so sweet is sick and squalling at the top of her lungs. That husband that you adore has forgotten to take you out for a date night for 2 weeks. There are troubles in the congregation. People are gossiping and mad at each other, and daily life just intervenes. And that brings to mind a song that's really old as well. It goes something like this. Why do the birds keep on singing? Why do these eyes of mine cry? Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when you said goodbye. That's such a good song about someone who's someone's broken up with her. And she goes on to say, I wake up every morning and I wonder why everything's the same as it was. I can't understand why life goes on the way it does. So when we're down, we're down. Is there really a way to keep glowing in the everyday struggles of life and not just when everything looks great? I have a sign in my kitchen. It reads, I think I'll just be happy today. Though it's not quite that simple, is it? But choosing joy is often a good first step. Will my attitude be ruled by circumstances or by the heart? This is not to say there isn't a time for grief, for the Lord tells us there is a season for everything, and that it is better to go to the house of mourning than the house of feasting, for this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to their heart. And blessed are those who mourn for their sins, for they shall be comforted. So there is definitely a time for sadness, and it is actually good for the soul. However, if we let these daily struggles keep us down, that's not so good. The writer of Hebrews encourages us with one of my favorite passages to lay aside every weight and sin that clings to us and run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is now seated beside the right hand of God. So these weights are our daily struggles of life. Yes, they are heavy. Yes, they weigh down on us. But there is a joy that's set before us. But how can I lay these aside? They aren't going to just vanish because I decide to lay them aside. Of course, sins can be put aside and put off initially by baptism. And then if we sin after that by repenting and letting God and your Christian family help you overcome these sins. But that other stuff is not going to go away. So it becomes a matter of where to lay it aside. And that place, my friend, is God's throne. Lay the troubles and the cares and the weights right down at his feet. Maybe my favorite Bible verse is Zephaniah 3:17. The Lord God is in your midst, a mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you by his love. Love that last part. He will quiet you by his love. So when I have worries that start creeping in and weights that so easily can beset me, I picture myself laying it down at his feet, and I ask him to quiet me with his love. And you know what? He really does. But I have to leave it there and not pick it up again. And sometimes I have to say it over and over, Lord, please quiet me with your love until I am finally letting him quiet me. This involves that trust, that I often seem to lack. You've heard me talk about this before. I'm doing better, but my goal is 100% trust. That's my goal. And my goal is to have perfect love, which he says will cast out fear if I can ever attain that. And I try to talk to him honestly. I think this is important, that we be honest with God. He knows me. He knows my every thought. So why not admit the fears, the distress, the questions in me? Do you know he really wants to take care of me? He wants to take care of you as well. And he wants me to admit how much I need him. He's not annoyed by my constant dependence on him. He actually welcomes it. My friend told me a sweet story about a little boy who's now her husband. When he was about in 5th grade and he went to one of the Florida college camps, I think the one in Ohio, and his mom had packed clothes like we do for each day. When my kids went, of course, you tell them, here are all your outfits. They're all fixed. Here are your pajamas, your beach towel, your towel to take to the shower. But he continued to wear the very same clothes every day and every night. For a whole week, he wore the same clothes. He did not change. Well, you can imagine on the way home, the smell in the car, they had to roll all the windows down. And just think about that, how refreshing it would have been once he got home and got out of those clothes and his mom made him take a bath. Well, that's how sin can weigh us down. It's like putting on the nasty clothes, leaving them on every day, after day, every night. How that would weigh you down. Well, to keep that glow, we're going to have to, of course, first get rid of that nasty sin. And we've talked about before that we cast that off in baptism when we rise a clean and pure and new person. And then we have the privilege of asking for help and repenting if ever those nasty clothes start to come on us again. But that other part about weighing us down, the cares and concerns and worries of the everyday life, those aren't going to go away just because we're baptized into Christ, are they? So to keep that glow and radiate joy, besides being freed from sin, that nasty sin we've been carrying around, we must learn to hand over our daily worries and concerns to God. Go to Him in prayer. As soon as you feel the weight on your shoulders, let Him carry the heavy load. It will free you up to go about focusing on the hope set before us. And God gives us, besides prayer, He gives us singing to lift our spirits. Go someplace by yourself. Get in the car, in your room, and just blast it out. Sing as loud as you want. Play a song on the YouTube and sing along with it. There's one that I just love and am reminded of when I watch these beautiful sunsets at night. It says, beyond the sunset's radiant glow, there is a brighter world I know. Beyond the sunset I may spend delightful days that never end. Beautiful song. Until then, let's let our light glow. Let's radiate hope. As was promised to Job in 8:21, and to us as well if we let it, He will yet fill your mouth with laughter, and your lips will shout of joy. Have a great day.